Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video of BOOKMAS. I think today is day 9 of BOOKMAS if I'm not mistaken. Honestly, things are a little bit of a blur right now because I'm constantly filming, editing, and I'm filming like 2 to 3 videos side by side, so I'm a little bit muddled in my head. But whatever day it is, it's a happy day, and today's video is all about my top favorite reads of 2025. I want to make a disclaimer that before 2025, or before I think midway through 2024, is when I restarted and got into reading all over again. Post school, I got into a very long reading slump, like more than 10 years, and I didn't touch any books. I was so busy that I sort of like never had the time to read a book, or just never really picked it back up again, and it happens. Like, I was in a very long slump. However, middle of 2024 is when I started reading again, and 2025 is when I really picked up the pace and got into all these like famous book talk bookstagram books, which are very hyped. There will be a lot of books in this video that are not new releases, or they may be old releases, but these are the books that I have read this year and I have loved from the bottom of my heart. Having said that, let's get into this video. I've read quite a lot of books this year. I think I'm almost touching 60 books now, which is not a lot for a lot of people, but for me it is quite a lot. Since before this I was completely off reading for so long, so 60 books this year is genuinely a lot. That I think comes down to about 5 books per month, which is great in my opinion, so I'm very happy about that. Having said that, out of those 60 books, some really stood out to me and were close to my heart. Honestly, the way I judge a book personally is what it makes me feel after and how it stays with me. And there were a lot of books that I read this year that literally have stayed with me till now and are a big part of me and have changed me in some way or the other. So I'm just actually very happy to be getting back into reading, because it just gives me so much joy. Just to sit in peace and read without any distraction is honestly what I love doing. I can do it forever and ever. So anyway, let's get on with the first pick of this video, and that is gonna be Powerful by Lauren Roberts. So Powerful by Lauren Roberts is a short novella which is set in the same Powerless universe of hers, which is that very famous Powerless book which is all over social media. Events in Powerful happen alongside Powerless. So I did not know that initially when I got into reading it. I read Powerless first and then I read Powerful. A lot of people do the tandem read as well, which apparently is great, but honestly I enjoyed it like this too. You've read Powerless, then you know who Adina is, and Powerful actually follows her story. It focuses on the relationship between Adina and Mac. Adina is an ordinary. She is Payden's best friend, who she used to live with in the slums before Payden went to fight in the trials. And Mac is this all-powerful elite, and honestly it's their story which is the center of Powerful. Post Payden going off to fight in the trials, Adina is left all alone in the slums, and this is where she meets Mac. And the story is honestly about their characters and how they meet, how they fall in love, and it's very character driven. There is very less action, I'll just tell you right from the beginning. Very character driven. It's very bond heavy, how their bond develops, how the characters develop, how the relationship develops. Honestly, I read this book in one sitting and I cried throughout almost. It was so good, it was so heart-wrenching, it was so beautiful. I literally had tears pouring down my eyes. I still cry when I think about that book. It revolves around themes of love, loss, betrayal, and tragedy. This book literally broke my heart. It was so good. Like, thinking about it makes me want to cry right now. It ruined me in the best way possible. I loved it. Like, This story will forever be in my heart. She really did good with this one. And honestly, like, I I didn't enjoy Powerless, the series, entire series much. Powerless was decent. I loved Reckless. However, Fearless just didn't sit with me. I was not at all engaged in the book. I have to say that Powerful was really a masterpiece. I loved it. So the next pick that I have for you is God of Malice by Rena Kent. Again, no words needed to describe this one. It's a very famous on BookTok, Bookstagram, BookTube, all over. It's a dark romance which will make you question the world around you, literally. This is not your typical goody-goody romance. It's not your typical soft romance. If you go into this book expecting that, then my friend, you're in for a rude awakening. Honestly, because this is not that at all. This is dark, messy, unhinged, complicated. There are themes of obsession. The MMC is morally grey and extremely morally grey. The trigger warnings in this book are immense and many, so definitely check those out before reading this book. So God of Malice is the first book in the series called Legacy of Gods by Rena Kent. I love her. The way she writes her characters is amazing. It's a standalone book in an interconnected series. So each book is about a different couple. So you don't need to read the other books to read that book. But I have OCD, so I had to start from book one. And wow, I started it and I dived in head first. Currently, I'm on the fourth book, God of Ruin by her, and I'm loving each and every book. Though some do stand out to me more than the other. God of Malice being one. I love God of Wrath too. That was the third book. It was about Jeremy and Cecily. God of Pain, not so much. It wasn't my vibe. It was still good, but it did not even compare to God of Malice or God of Wrath. God of Pain was about Creighton and Annika. Somehow those characters just didn't gel with me, or I just was not interested in their storyline, which is okay. It's a personal choice. Coming back to God of Malice, the MMC in this book is called Killian Carson. He's a total unhinged psychopath. He has antisocial tendencies and he is very violent, very obsessive, very dangerous, very dark, and he's constantly thinking about like all these things and killing people, and he's basically cuckoo in the head. On the other hand, we have our FMC, Glendon King. She's a sweet, tender girl who's gone through a lot of trauma in her past life. And she's the type of girl who, even after being through so much trauma, is still so sweet, so nice, and still is, I think, trying to learn how to cope with that trauma and is unable to sort of reconcile with that fact, and she suffers silently. So they both are from rival, like, college gangs, from the heathens and the elites, and it's a forbidden love, which I love. Like, I love reading about forbidden love, and this book has done that so well. Honestly, in the beginning, when you do meet Killian, you will hate him. Like, I hated him in the beginning. I was like, what is up with this dude? What is wrong with him? Like, get him away from me. But over the course of the book, I fell in love, and now he's one of my most favorite MMCs ever. When Killian and Glenn meet, starts off like an obsession and only grows and grows and grows, and the way that has been portrayed, and the way both of them, you know, help each other to come out of their own traumas is amazing. Like, I really love this book. This is not a comfort read. Please check your trigger warnings, as I said, before picking this book up. But definitely one of my top favorite reads of the year 2025. The third book that I want to talk about is none other than Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. It's part of the Boys of the Torment series, and I have read the first three books. That's Binding 13, Keeping 13, and Saving 6. So in this also, there are like two books are dedicated to one couple or something like that. So the first two books are dedicated to Johnny Shannon. The next two are dedicated to Joey and Aoife. So basically, essentially, this series follows like this group of rugby stars, teenagers who are attending school in Cork in Ireland. and it's about how these guys grow up and what kind of families. They all come from different families, different backgrounds, but they all come together to the school and they all grow up together. And it's literally like how your school life would have been, the kind of struggles you face as adolescents, the kind of it's like a coming of age story basically, essentially. I loved it. It was so well done, especially Binding 13. It drew me in from the start. I was hooked on, I was so invested, and as a 30-year-old, being invested in the lives of these adolescents is saying something. So definitely would tell you to check this book out. Basically, it's like a contemporary romance with themes of, very heavy themes by the way, themes of trauma, child abuse, domestic violence, familial trauma. So I would definitely again recommend you to check out the trigger warnings before reading this book. However, leaving all that on the side, the way everything has been done, all the themes that have been explored, the way Johnny and Shannon's relationship has been developed over the course of the time, all the character development, character arcs have been done so well. Just the yearning, the banter, their moments together, like 6 stars, literally, not even kidding. If you're into the tropes like first love, found family, learning to trust, finding your own identity, then this book is definitely for you. Please pick it up. It will be such a great read. Like, I'm not even joking. So the next book that we're going to be talking about is called, it's again a fan favorite. It's called 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This is the first ever Ashley Poston I read, and boy am I glad I read it. Honestly, I'm so thankful to all my friends on Instagram who recommended this book to me, because this book honestly changed my perception of romance. Like, romance for me had become the typical soft, meet cute, boy next door sort of stories, and I was honestly just bored of reading the same thing, bored of going through the same conversations, bored of the same banter. Like, it was all so similar. However, this book literally rewrites romance. It's so good, so well done. It's so whimsical. It has an aspect of magical realism. And honestly, in the beginning, I genuinely thought that I would find it a bit weird. Like, this magical realism, I'm not on board with that. I don't like books like that, and they literally bore me. I like it in fantasy, not gonna lie, but when it comes to romance, for me, romance and like magical realism in my head don't mix. But obviously, I was mistaken, because this book knocked it out of the park. The way it was done, it didn't feel fake, it didn't feel childish, it just felt on point. Like, it felt like everything happened so perfectly, the events happened so well. So this book is basically about this girl. She's a publicist living alone, and basically she inherits this apartment from her aunt, who she was very close to when she used to take a lot of trips with her and stuff. So she's very sad, and one day she goes to the apartment, she moves in and everything, and she suddenly wakes up and realizes she slipped in time, and she meets this boy who's like her temporary roommate and also a to-be chef. They meet, they have dinner, they enjoy each other's company, and she starts sort of looking forward to his company. And this happens 2-3 times, and I think they start falling in love. Then she realizes that one day she comes back to the apartment, and the apartment's gone back to today's time and date, so he doesn't exist essentially. But then she ends up meeting him in real life, and it's now 7 years post. So when they were meeting in the apartment, they were slipping in time 7 years ago. Then she actually ends up meeting him on the present day. So that's how the story goes, and about how she learns to deal with or come to terms with who he was then or who he is now. So I feel it's a very interesting topic, an interesting way that this book romance has been portrayed in this book, and it was really very well done. Honestly, initially it was a bit confusing, this whole time slip and everything, but over the course of the book it becomes clear, it becomes very clear actually, and it's very heartwarming to read. Like the nicknames for each other basically talks of the right person but the wrong time in my head, and that is very much a thing. So I feel it delved into that theme very well. It portrayed that theme very well. It also explores tropes like second chance romance, slow burn, friends to lovers, and it has a very, very whimsical and magical setting. Give this book a try, you will not regret it. It's one of the best reads for me from 2025. Now, time for the fifth book in this list, and that book is none other than Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole. This is the first book in the Gods and Monsters series, and the second book is on my December TBR. It's called The Throne of Broken Gods, and the fourth book just came out, and I think it's a 7-part series, which is very exciting because I fell in love with this book. It's a dark romantasy, so obviously I loved it. It has one of the most fiercest FMCs ever to be written, at least anything that I've read. She's fierce, she's independent, she's dark, she is the one who's morally grey. I love it. Love the way her character has been written. Like, that is one of the first few things that stood out to me in the book, and it just pulled me in even further. And the world building in this book is so thorough. There are gods, there are monsters, there are celestials, there are mortals, you name it, and this book has it. Okay, so the story follows our FMC, which is Diana. She's originally a mortal, and to save her dying sister, she strikes a deal with this monster called Caden, and he sort of ends up remaking her into an immortal creature called an Igmorathan. Honestly, I was very confused in the beginning because there were all these terms, all these words, but once you read the book, everything gets clearer and clearer. He gives her this task of finding the Book of Azrael, which is apparently written by the god Azrael, and with it, he plans to sort of, destroy the world, annihilate the world, the usual. So now in comes Samkiel or Liam. He was the world ender, the former god who has sort of renounced his throne post the gods' war. He's so broken and he doesn't want anything to do with it. He blames himself for everything, and this is where he comes in, and because of now because his loved ones are under attack, he's sort of forced to dive right back in, and that's how the story goes, about how these two meet each other and sort of have to work together to save the people that they love. It's honestly a very fast-paced story. It's got a lot of slow burn, a lot of tension, a lot of yearning, all the good things that I love. This book has it. And also I have to mention that this is an enemies to lovers, and this is a true enemies to lovers. It's not like I hate you but secretly I love you. No, it's a true enemies to lovers. Like, he hates her or she hates him. Like, they are literally being forced to work together. So I genuinely love that, and it was such a good book, and definitely this is on my top 10 of 2025. So the sixth book that I want to talk about is Ruining Dahlia by C.R. Jane. I've spoken a lot about this, and I've also spoken a lot about this on my Instagram and also in other videos. This is honestly the first dark romance novel that I ever read, and I think this is the book that got me into dark romance because I lapped it up. I think I read this book in literally 4 hours. I think at night I was browsing. I was like, what should I read? I saw this. I saw a reel on this book and I was like, okay, sounds interesting. I picked it up. It's on Kindle Unlimited and I lapped it up. It was so good, so captivating, so intriguing. Just amazing. If you want to get into dark romance and if you want a recommendation, try Ruining Dahlia by C.R. Jane. You won't regret it. It's a fast-paced, obviously, spicy, reverse harem book. It's set in the mafia world, which it's checking all my boxes. I love a dark mafia romance. Basically in the mafia world, there are these different sort of mafia sects, or for the want of a better word, but they sort of are, to prevent them all from fighting with each other, they come up with this plan that their eldest daughter will get married to the eldest son or the next mafia leader for the coming generation. So in this way, it's basically a marriage of convenience. Obviously, the guy and the girl don't know each other. They're forced into it. But it has to be done for the honor of the family. This book is part of a series of interconnected standalone novels, and I think the series is called The Mafia Wars, and each book in that series is written by a different author. That was really amazing to me because I read all the books and I loved all of them. There was such a different and fresh perspective to each book. However, Ruining Dahlia really stood out to me, probably because I read it the first, who knows. But each book follows like a different couple sort of in this whole series, and this book follows the story of Dahlia, who is engaged to Lucien Rossi of Italian mafia, and on the way she ends up meeting his brothers Gabriel and Raphael, and how from a strong innocent girl who's had a lot of trauma in her past, she sort of becomes like this strong confident girl under their guidance. And the story just goes, like, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but if you're into like unhinged, dark, obsessive, jealous sort of love stories, then this one is definitely for you. Trigger warnings, so please read your trigger warnings. There's a lot of violence, there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of gore, there's a lot of talk of sexual abuse, so please check your trigger warnings before reading this book. However, I loved it and it is definitely up there for me. Okay, the next book that we're going to be talking about is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. So this is the third book in the Empyrean series. The first one was Fourth Wing, and that is literally my top favorite books of all time. I know it's cliche and blah blah blah, whatever, I don't care because I love that book. That was the book that got me out of my 10-year long reading slump, and it will always have a special place in my heart. So I did end up reading Fourth Wing in 2024 and I was obsessed. Obsessed is the wrong word. I was more than obsessed. And it's kind of creepy how obsessed I was with that book. I still am. But I loved it. Basically, Fourth Wing is like a fast-paced romantasy. All these books in the series, Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm, they're all fast-paced romantasies set in the world with dragons, dragon riders, and magical abilities and all that good stuff. What drew me in, honestly, was how easy this book was to read. It's literally like you eat it up. I know a lot of people didn't like the writing of the book, but I didn't mind it at all. In fact, I actually loved it. I loved how easy it was to like just read, go through, finish this book in 2 days flat. And honestly, I was sad because I wanted to reread it all over again. I have reread the series 3 times already and I am obsessed. Onyx Storm, the third book in the series, came out in January of 2025. Again, it's very fast paced. Things start heating up. Like, again, I don't want to give spoilers, so I'm not going to say much. But if you love an enemies to lovers, found family, slow burn, a lot of yearning, then this is the mother of all books. Like, if you want to get into romantasy and you don't know where to start, pick up Fourth Wing, read it, then read Iron Flame, and then get to Onyx Storm because you are going to love it. Trust me. And honestly, I don't have much else to say about this book because it is so famous all over social media and I'm sure everyone knows what this book is about. So I don't want to bore anyone. But yes, this is definitely part of my top 10 of 2025. So I read another dark romance series this year in, I think, September, October, and it's called The Edge of Darkness by Leigh Rivers. All 3 books in that series, Insatiable, Voracious, and Restitution, were god tier. Wow. Like, wow. I have no words. I don't think I've ever read dark romance that way. Like, Ruining Dahlia had a special place in my heart because it's the first book I read. First dark romance that I read, but these 3 books knocked it right out of the park. The storyline, the plot, the characters, the side characters, everything in it was done so well. It was so intriguing, so captivating, so scary. Like, I'm not kidding. I was literally on the edge of my seat while reading the series. And I think I finished the series in a matter of 2 or 3 days. 3 books in 3 days. That's how good it was. It was, like, thinking about it, I love it. It's literally in my top favorites for a reason. This story follows a the very tumultuous relationship between Kate Mitchell and Stacey Rhodes. They're basically a couple that used to date, they broke up, and they find their way back to each other in very different circumstances. And again, I don't want to give spoilers, but this is a story of obsession, jealousy, tragedy, betrayal, all of that shebang. I have no words to describe the series because you have to read it to experience it. It was so good. I am so obsessed. There is also a lot of trauma in this book, so again, please check your trigger warnings. A lot of abuse, a lot of trauma, a lot of... Please, if you're someone struggling with all of those things, please be very wary of picking up these kind of books. Essentially, it's a story of miscommunications and heartbreak and a lot of violence. That's how I would describe these books. Having said that, I am literally obsessed. They were so good, so well done. Now my next pick for this list is Silver Tears by Saoirse Ray. Actually, the entire series, Cerulean Truth and Silver Tears by Saoirse Ray, part of the Sapir series written by Saoirse Ray. It's an indie series, indie published book, and that does not stop it from being one of the best books I've read this year. Both of them literally are in my God tier series for a reason. So good. Like, I want to touch her feet. Like, what has she written? She has given me this story and now I'm obsessed. And now I'm currently waiting part 3 and the wait is literally unbearable. So as I said, this is an indie, high stakes, fast paced romantasy set in the contemporary world. The world building is so well done. Chef's kiss, like, not even joking. The magical system, so unique. Basically, the concept is that the magic is tied to your emotions, and I've never honestly read something like that. It took me a little bit of time to get used to the whole concept, but once I sort of got it down and understood it, I was mind blown. But can you guess the best part of the book? Please guess. It was the FMC, of course. The female main character, known as Emma, was literally... I was obsessed with her. I loved her. She was so fierce, so independent, so strong. Loved her character development throughout both the books. If I aspire to be like someone, I aspire to be like her, because she took everything that life threw at her and literally knocked it out of the park. And she was like, I'm here. I got this. I can do anything. I can take on any problem, I can find any solution, and that kind of confidence is very inspiring, and I love the author for writing her characters so well. Also, when I read Cerulean Truth, that's the first book in the series, I loved it, and I genuinely thought to myself, I was like, okay, the sequel can't be any better, but honestly, Silver Tears proved me wrong because it was so much better. The storyline was so much better, the new characters introduced were so much better. Weak. Oh my god, thinking about it just makes me want to reread it all over again. There is so much angst, there is so much yearning, such funny and witty banter. I was literally blushing into my blanket while reading these books. So good, so well done. 6 stars, God tier. Waiting for the third book very impatiently, I might add. But yes, definitely one of the best series I've read this year. The last book that I want to talk about is called Alchemized by Sen-Lin Yu. I have spoken a lot about this in my other videos on my Instagram, and honestly, I haven't done a review on this book yet because I'm still recovering from this book. I read this book about a month ago. This book, after reading this book, I died, and I feel like I haven't come back to life yet. It was heart-wrenching. Thinking about it makes me like shiver, like I get goosebumps thinking about this book right now. So Alchemized is a dark romance and a dark fantasy. It's a war romance. It's a gothic war story basically, and it's a story about how war affects those around you, how it causes so much trauma, and how the winning side in a war essentially choose the narrative of how things happen. This book follows the story of this alchemist called Helena Marino, and she's been taken captive post this war, and she's being held by the High Reeve, he's one of the High Necromancer or Maros, you know, general sort of. And basically they feel that, you know, she's completely lost her memories, and they feel that she is sort of done that to herself because she's trying to hide information or something that she's not telling them, and they're hell-bent on sort of breaking into her mind and trying to figure out what that is. So this is how the story goes. However, there are so many more things to this story. So there are three parts in this story. It's a 1,000-page book. It's a long book, and honestly, it requires a lot of commitment. You really need time to focus. Like, you can't just sort of flick through this book. This needs time, focus, a lot of your energy, because part one of this book is very slow. It sort of like it builds the world of the book, and it sort of tells you all the meanings of these terms, and you know, it's building the entire world, the magical system, and it's very, very unique and very different to what I've ever read. So I feel that part one, for that reason, is very slow, and I feel a lot of people DNF'd also post part one because I can understand how it can feel very like nothing is happening, what's wrong, it's such a long book anyway. But I feel if you persevere and if you go on to part two, you'll realize why that part one was so important. I feel it really set the base for the coming story, and I feel without that, this book would just fall flat. I feel the author has done such a great job with layering everything, setting the base and then layering the pieces on top. And literally, when part two comes around, like my mind at least was blown. I was like, what the hell just happened? Oh my god, thinking about it literally is giving me the goosebumps. Like, even though I just read it, I want to read it all over again just to experience that beginning of part two and me being like stunned out of my brain. So good, like so good. The way the story progresses, the way you find out these little details. Basically, I don't want to give spoilers because I feel like this book needs to, like, you need to go in blind to read this book. This book also, I forgot to mention, is based on a fanfic written by the same author. It's a fanfic on Harry Potter, and essentially I think it's a Hermione fanfic. So it follows the relationship between Hermione and Draco Malfoy. A lot of people ship that relationship, right? It's based on that. She wrote that fanfic, and then it was picked up for traditional publishing, and she had to like sort of rewrite the characters and the world because of copyright infringement. So I feel like, and that book was called Manacled. I did not read it. I wanted to go into this book blind because I felt like if I had read Manacled, even though everything else was changed, the storyline would be similar, though people say that the books are very different. But still, I wanted to go into this blind because I wanted the full impact of this book, and I'm so glad I did not read Manacled before reading Alchemist. I feel like now I can go back and read Manacled, but I wanted to read Alchemist like fully with no sort of previous information in my head. I still can't talk about it. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to review this book. I don't know how to explain or describe this book without giving away any spoilers, because I feel like this book needs to be experienced completely blind. Like, you cannot go into it knowing some things about the book because I feel that really spoils the experience of the entire book. And this book is exactly that. It is an experience. It's a masterpiece. Like, I'm bowing down to you, San Lin Yu, because you have just done such a good job. Like, I wish you write more books because I will read anything that you write, genuinely. Definitely my most favorite read of 2025 was Alchemist by San Lin Yu. So that's it, and I did read a lot of other good books too. However, I'm not going to mention all of them in this video because otherwise this video will be too long. But if you do follow me on my Instagram, you know all the books that I read and all the books that I talk about and all the books that I love. So make sure to go follow me on there. Everything is linked in the description below. Enough yapping now. I feel like my throat has become so sore. I've just been talking non-stop for the past 1 hour. We will end this video right here. I hope you guys are enjoying my BOOKMAS videos because I'm definitely enjoying filming them. I feel like I'm so excited to be filming these videos, and I'm going to be really sad when BOOKMAS ends. but also very excited for the future of this channel. And yeah, this is it for this video, and I will see you guys for the next one. Bye.